Tonight's episode is brought to you by Dinesh D'Souza's new movie, The Dragon's Prophecy, based on the #1 international bestseller by Jonathan Cahn. The Dragon's Prophecy offers a new understanding on Israel, radical Islam, anti-Semitism, and biblical prophecy. Could it be that the fate of the world, of all of humanity itself, is tied to what we're seeing right now in the Middle East? In theaters 2 nights only, October 6th and October 8th, streaming and DVDs available October 9th. All tickets and pre-orders at thedragonsprophecyfilm.com. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Lara Trump, Wanted for Questioning. Can't wait, let's see what we got. Let's jump right into it today. Here we go. Question number 1. Do you follow astrology and horoscopes? I mean, not really. Do people really fully believe in that? Well, here's what I'll say. I actually, at the astrology stuff, which is I'm a Libra, birthday's this weekend. That's right. In case you didn't know that, October 12th birthday. I fully am the picture of a Libra. The Libra is scales, and we want everything to be even, and we believe in justice and everything to be right. I will say that my entire life, I have felt like that is a perfect picture of me. I even remember being in elementary school and getting in knockdown, drag out arguments with my parents about stuff just because there was some level of justice in whatever it was I was vying for. I mean, this was wild stuff. I'm one of those people who, if friends of mine are in some sort of a disagreement and are butting heads, it impacts me. And I can't rest and fully just relax until everybody's settled. I get it messes with me. So I guess to answer your question, maybe. Now, do I follow a horoscope or any of that? No, I mean, I think it's fun to look it up and be ooh, today's the day this is going to happen. Do I really believe in that? No. But I think that kind of stuff is kind of fun sometimes. And I will just say, I truly have been what they describe a Libra to be my entire life. And quite frankly, I think it's served me rather well. So whatever you want to make of that, you can make of that. Okay, next question. What's the most interesting part of Eric's new book that isn't being talked about? Oh my gosh. Well, you know people from what you see out there of them on television or kind of in the public space, but you have to remember that at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and we all go home at night and, everybody puts their pants on the same way, so to speak, type of thing. But Eric really gets down in this book in terms of how all of what we went through directly impacted him very personally. I mean, the nights that I would wake up and Eric would literally just be sitting up in bed awake in the middle of the night, and I'd say what's going on? And it was just all this heavy stuff weighing down on him, weighing down on all of us. You never really think about the way this stuff ultimately personally directly impacts people, but he gets into that in this book and gives you a real glimpse into what the cost, so to speak, of all of it to him personally and to our family personally. And I think that's unique. I think we've all tried to do a good job of being private enough with our lives, but I think it's important to remind people that at the end of the day, we're all human beings, and it might feel easy to attack someone who you don't know because you hide behind a screen, or to wish for ill on someone, but it really does affect a lot of people's lives, and you don't think about the personal toll often. So I'm excited for people to get a little glimpse into that maybe for the first time. Okay, next question. If you could convince one celebrity to join a karaoke duet with you at a campaign rally, who do you pick, and what song would you belt out together? Oh my God. I mean, this is so major. Does this person have to be alive is the real question, because I have 2 big regrets in my life for people who I absolutely idolized in the world of music and never got to see perform actually on a stage in front of me. Whitney Houston and Michael Jackson. I mean, I think they were both so epic. and they both died before I could ever see them in concert, and I'm very regretful of that. So I would take, quite frankly, either one of them. Oh my gosh, and what song would we sing? God, it's a hard one. I also grew up with my dad listening to a lot of Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles, and I've been to an Eagles concert with my dad. I've not been to a Fleetwood Mac concert with him. But all those songs are very nostalgic for me and kind of like take me back. And so, if I could get on stage maybe with the Eagles and do like some harmonizing and some of those amazing songs, I'd be down for that. But listen, I just like to have fun, and I love music, and there's so much music out there that I like. I hate when people are like, what kind of music do you listen to? And somebody's like, I listen to everything. I really do kind of listen to everything, except like heavy metal rock. Like that's just a little too far for me. I'll tell you, somebody who's been putting out some good stuff lately is Tom MacDonald. Some of you may know about Tom MacDonald, some of you may not. He wrote a song after Charlie Kirk was killed. He's written a lot of good stuff, kind of just echoing and reflecting on the moments that we've been in over the past 10 years and the times. And listen, if I could get on stage with Tom MacDonald and do a little something, I wouldn't be mad about that at all. So we'll see what happens. I think crazier things have happened in this world, and if I have a cool opportunity, I'm never going to say no. So don't kid yourself. You might have just put it out there in the universe. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned, as they say. It was 2 years ago that terrorists murdered more than 1,200 innocent Israelis and took 250 hostages. Today, it seems as if the cries of the dead and dying have been drowned out by shouts of anti-Semitic hatred. And the most brutal attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust has been forgotten. Yet, as the world looks away, a light shines in the darkness. United in faith, Christians in America will boldly stand with Israel this month by participating in a growing movement, the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, Flags of Fellowship. Flags of Fellowship unites churches across America, planting over 1 million Israeli flags across our land. Together, we will combat hate and the scourge of anti-Semitism, one flag at a time. And through our prayers, we can save lives, bring hope, and be a part of seeing a brighter future unfold. This October, please join us by donating your flag today. Show the world that Israel is not alone. To get more information about how you can join the Flags of Fellowship movement, visit ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org. Well, you know me. I believe in freedom, independence, and the values that built this country. Now, I'll be the first to say, President Trump has taken the steps towards reviving our economy, but inflation, trade deficits, and global uncertainty are hitting hardworking Americans where it hurts. Here's the truth. I refuse to let these hidden forces decide my future. That's why I help protect my wealth with real assets, physical gold and silver. For generations, these metals have held value, no matter who's in office or what the markets do. To me, gold and silver mean independence, not just for today, but for tomorrow. If you want the peace of mind I found, it's time to take action. I've partnered with the #1 rated precious metals company, Goldco, and right now they're offering first-time gold buyers a rebate of up to 10% in bonus silver on qualified accounts. Visit LaraLikesGold.com to learn how to help safeguard your savings with gold and silver the way I do. That's LaraLikesGold.com. Okay, next question. Does the rest of the family love dogs as much as you and Carolina? Do any of the other Trumps have dogs too? Absolutely. I think we all have dogs. I'm trying to think. No, Tiffany and Michael have a cat. They have 2 cats. I think they have 2 now. Ivanka and Jared and their kids have 2 dogs. They have Simba and Winter are their names. We just saw them recently, and they couldn't be more different. Winter is this tiny little white fluffy thing, and Simba is like a horse, basically. And they're great. We got to see them over the summer a little bit when we were in New Jersey, and we just saw them recently down at their house as well, so my kids got to play with them. And then Don's family, they have several dogs. I want to say they have 4 dogs right now or something like that. I think they're mostly Shih Tzus, if I'm not mistaken. Those are the ones that the two, Mario and Luigi, I know I saw running around all the time, but I think they've gotten 2 more since I last was over there. But yeah, we're big dog people. My brother has a dog in North Carolina. My parents have a dog in North Carolina. I know you asked about the Trump family, but I just want to put it all out there. Big dog people. And I'm going to encourage you out there, if you're thinking about getting a dog, please adopt a dog. Consider Big Dog Ranch Rescue if you live in Florida, or you can go to your local animal shelter. Shelters right now are overrun with animals, and it is a horrific situation. They're having to euthanize dogs at an alarming rate right now, and it's kind of amped up over the past 4 years because Joe Biden put the economy in such a bad spot that people had to make horrific decisions as to whether or not they were going to feed their family pet or feed their children. And so the family pet would often go to the animal shelter, and you can figure out the rest of the story there. So please adopt if you're considering it. And dogs are just the greatest. And it's funny because you don't know how your kids will be one day. And my son loves our dogs too. Our OG dog, Charlie, who's 15, he always wants Charlie to sleep in bed with him every single night. He makes a little bed for him in his bed, covers him up with a blanket. It's like the sweetest thing I've ever seen. But yeah, Carolina, I mean, you wonder, is it a genetic thing that you just love animals? Yeah, it is. It got passed down to her 1,000%. No DNA test needed. That is 100% my child. There's no doubt about it. And nothing's better than dogs. Don't tell Eric Trump, but maybe we'll get another one sometime soon. Never know. Okay, next question. Would Eric Trump make a good president? We all know only Lara could fill Melania's shoes as first lady. Wow. Those are some shoes to fill, and some gorgeous shoes at that. She's always serving looks, Melania, at all times. So thank you. That's quite a compliment to say I could fill her shoes. I don't know if that's true or not, but yeah, I think Eric would make a great president. I'll say that our family has seen the really positive side of politics, but we've also seen the really ugly side of it. So it kind of makes all of us think twice about ever doing anything in that realm. I would say never about any of us, however. But yeah, Eric he's, I think, the most like his dad, at least from a business standpoint, of any of the kids. It's funny because I hear them on the phone all the time, and the way they both talk about different projects. Eric will be so excited about something, and he'll call to tell his dad like something he did at one of the golf properties because he knows his dad is going to love it. And it's just funny because they both sound exactly like one another. And obviously I've known them both for quite some time and have seen this in practice when my father-in-law was at the Trump organization, but I would say it's even more pronounced now. They both have an eye for things that the average person doesn't. They can both walk in a room and look around and say, like, okay, the light bulb over there on that chandelier on the right side of it is out and somebody needs to go fix it. And like most people would never in a million years see something like that. Or that tile over there needs to be regrouted. We need to get somebody in here tomorrow to regrout it. Like it's just another level. And so with all of that, with his like business savvy, with the way he operates, I think that they are probably the most like one another. And I would say that Donald Trump is the greatest president, maybe in American history, certainly of my lifetime, without a shadow of a doubt. And so, yeah, I think Eric would make a great president. I do think about the toll that it takes, though, on a person, on a family, and you have to dedicate yourself 1,000% to it. Otherwise, you get a Joe Biden presidency. You get an auto pin presidency. It's no good. So, yeah, I think Eric would do a great job. Now, whether or not he wants that is a totally different animal. But he's got to vote here if he ever decides that that's on the agenda. Okay. Here we go. Last question. How can we reach more women to get them into the conservative movement? You know what? I think you're seeing a shift. Here's what I think, and stay with me here. I think that, and I don't want to sound like ridiculous here, but I do think often women follow the men in a lot of these spaces. You know, there are a lot of young men out there who have made a change in their political viewpoints, and they all shifted right over the past 8 years, but significantly over the past 4 years. Between the 2020 and 2024 election, the shift in young male voters in this country was incredible. And so I think that the men go a certain direction. And then like I think about college campuses, and I think about having been on a college campus myself, how it all operates on there. And I think that ultimately young women are going to start to wake up, because these men are very pragmatic with what they're doing. They have a very common sense standpoint on things. And quite frankly, I think a lot of these men look at some of this like liberal ideology and some of this crazy stuff, and they're like, well, I don't want to date a woman who's got these crazy ideas, because ultimately, aren't you always thinking in the back of your mind, like, could I spend an inordinate amount of time with this person? Could I see this person as a long-term partner, as a possible wife one day? And I think at a certain point, these women are going to have to realize that the crazy stuff that they've been that's been pumped into them is just that. It's crazy. So I think it's going to naturally happen, I guess, is part of my point. How can we reach more of them? I think we have to continue to show up. I think we have to continue to do what Charlie Kirk was doing, show up on these college campuses, reach out to them, ensure that they hear a different viewpoint. Because if you're only plied with one thing, guess what? That's all you're going to know. And that's kind of been the consistent thing that's happened on these college campuses until Charlie Kirk showed up. And so I think we continue reaching out, we continue talking, we continue having civil conversations and debates. My husband over the summer went to dinner. He went to like a guy's dinner, and he was so funny. He came home that night and he was like, oh, we had the best time. There was a woman who came up and was kind of trying to get into it with us, and was saying, oh, I really don't like your dad, but you seem okay. And Eric was like, all right, well, let me ask you, what is it you don't like about Donald Trump? Tell me. And everything basically she said, Eric was like, no, that's not right. That's a lie. And here's the alternative view of it. And here's what the reality is. So I think when you actually have this conversation with people, and you actually sit down and you debunk some of the nonsense and the hysteria that they've been told, like some of that crazy stuff, like we hear Rosie O'Donnell saying, these people on MSNBC, they're just lies, quite frankly. And so I think whenever you actually engage with these people, they're more apt to, maybe look at your side a little bit differently. I think we have to continue doing that. And look, I think results matter. I think you're seeing those results right now all across this country with this president. And it's hard to dispute whenever prices are lower, whenever you can afford more with your money, when your job prospects are brighter, when you look at the future of this country and you're optimistic. It's hard to argue with that. And so I think naturally, that shift is going to happen, but we got to continue going out. We got to continue talking and be unafraid. Be truthful and unafraid. All right, that's going to do it for us for this episode of Lara Trump Wanted for Questioning. Great stuff today. Send us more under this episode, under any of our social media, and I will do my best to answer it for you. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and follow, and we'll see you back here next time for more of Lara Trump Wanted for Questioning.